So I'm going to look at food production and nutritional influences. So briefly, agricultural revolution in man's history and its influence on nutrition, food-related deficiencies, overconsumption, and occurrence of degenerative diseases. Now, terms like agriculture are going to be defined. Agriculture, the modern definition, is that it includes the cultivation of crops, animal husbandry, poultry, fishing, seafood industries for human use. Revolution is a paradigm shift that changes how living systems are understood, often driven by new technology or discoveries that alter the field's framework. Agricultural revolution is outlined specific periods of the human civilization when farming techniques improved mass production within a short period of time. Degenerative diseases, these are conditions characterized by progressive, irreversible deterioration of cells, tissues, and organs like Alzheimer's disease due to cognitive deterioration. So, archaeologist Vary Gordon linked the beginning of agriculture to climate change. That at the end of an ice age, the Earth's temperature increased and glaciers moved rapidly onwards, and rainfall simultaneously decreased in Southwest Asia and Africa. Now, drought followed year in, year out, which caused loss of vegetation and death of animals. Human groups were forced to produce their own food since climate had become stable. Although that is a scientific view, there are other local legends that explain the origin of agriculture, like stories of Chintu and Nambi, Jipiri and Labongo, for context of Uganda. Now, we're going to look at agricultural revolutions. First of all, we have the Neolithic. That is the first one. As the Ice Age period came to an end in its late evenings around 12,000 years ago, humans could settle and grow food on their accord. Now, this enabled permanent settlement, population growth, and surplus of food. Crops like wheat, barley, rice, maize, as well as livestock can be traced back in the agrarian revolution. Now, the second revolution, this took place between the 19th and the 18th century. It happened mainly in Britain, though its impact was globally felt. Involved mechanization, selective breeding, improved crop rotation, which boosted yields. They also developed chemical fertilizers. The population boomed. Now, thirdly, the agricultural revolution. We have this happened between the mid 20th century. Its birth is considered in Mexico. It has also called the Green Revolution. Its innovations include irrigation systems, genetically engineered high-yield crops, and synthetic fertilizers. It's expanded food supply globally. Influence on nutrition. It increased food availability and diversity. Reduction of famines in many regions. Increased calorie intake of the growing population. Surpluses enabled trade and specialization. Domestication of plants and animals. Diversified diets. So as you can see in this diagram here, we see the human population was a little bit 2.5 million years ago in the Stone Age period. I think the human population was low. Then it came into the 7000 BC. We saw it rising up to 1000 AD. It was rising across all those ages: the New Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, Mid Ages. But then when it came into the modern ages here, we've seen a rapid increase in the human population. Since agriculture now has reached its steep, we know how to get the food. So if food is available, human populations can increase. People can care less about, starvation and stuff. So they settle down and eat their food and they produce and things happen. The negative impacts, Lydia, keep quiet. Negative impacts: dependency on staple food crops, e.g., rice. Negative impacts: dependence on staple foods, e.g., rice, maize, wheat, led to micronutrient deficiencies such as pellagra, reduced dietary diversity compared to hunter gathered diets. Food-related deficiencies, that is modernized diets, caused micronutrients deficiencies, e.g. iron, vitamin, and iodine. Overconsumption also took place with the negative impacts of this. We have industrialized agriculture and processed foods encourage diets higher in sugar, fats, and refined grains. So this basically has led to diseases like gastritis in some men because they take foods that contain gluten, a protein that disturbs their tummy. So we have those kind of diseases coming up, things like cancer. So briefly, when humans were still hunters and gatherers, they lived a mobile lifestyle, and consumption behaviors were adapted to the organism's need. This prevented occurrence of diseases like civilization diseases, such as chronic and non-communicable diseases. Due to this, the skeletal-muscular system was well developed, reducing a postural and locomotor diseases. Facial diseases were the ones prevailing a lot in those ages. Now, in the later revolutions, humans became sedentary. Reduced mobility and unbalanced diets led to a reduction in the body height and increase in the degenerative diseases. So they got to become more and more sick. Those days we used to work hard, muscular and stuff, but these days people just eat a lot of food and sit around in their chairs. Sorry. So today there is a rise in chronic and communicable diseases like cancer, diabetes, dementia due to consumption of highly processed foods over several years. So therefore, in conclusion, agricultural revolution improved food security but also introduced nutritional challenges. Early farming societies faced deficiencies due to reliance on few crops, while modern agriculture has contributed to overconsumption and degenerative diseases. Thus, the food production has a dual influence. It sustains the populations but also shapes health outcomes depending on the dietary diversity and balance. So remain teacher Obadiah. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, you can like and subscribe and comment, make some comments on where you feel like you need to comment, any improvements needed, and any more solutions that are needed to be added into this presentation for the betterment of the one Africa, one world. In Jesus' name, see you in the next video.